Yeah, I'm gonna do YouTube Live and um, the old Instagram uses as well, just on as many platforms as possible. So we got that one up now.
All right, now, hey, this microphone is on this time.
I'm about to check. To be honest with you, I don't know,
It's
but I'm
on.
about to check. All right. Boom. I will indulge in a little. Hey, I will indulge in a little.
Are you doing both Instagram Live and
YouTube? I'm going live on everything. If I had a Twitch, I'd go live on that right now.
We can work on that.
We gotta work on that. See,
We can work on that. That's when we'll actually need to use that for the Twitch.
Okay, I'm with it.
Yeah.
I've got another board too. Check. Running yours?
Check 1, 2. It's on. It's
Yeah,
on.
that's yours.
Okay, cool. There's no light.
Yeah, guys, for you watching on YouTube, I appreciate it. My co-host is still a little camera shy, so gotta deal with this mug. Let's see. That was a good question about my Shirley. Is there anything I would do differently? Hang on, let me get us live on those on all the other stuff, but I'll answer that. So I love my Shirley. I love both of mine.
I didn't go back and listen, but did you answer how you got started in barbecue?
No, I guess we should probably do that one too.
Yeah, you need to do you remember who asked that question?
I've got it listed. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I feel like you need to answer that question.
I feel you're just trying to put me on the spot for.
No. I just it's like that guy's more interested in your story than mine.
We don't know that. We don't know that. He could just find out that you're on. He's like, oh yeah, finally a reason to actually listen to this thing.
How did last week's episode do, by the way?
I went very, very well.
Sweet.
Why are certain things not showing up like they should? This is the issue, the technical difficulties part, guys. My apologies. You're on. You're connected. I'm connected. It's like every single time there's always something
Something that's tweaked.
that wants to shift, even though nothing in the room moves or changes.
Well,
It just happens. Now it's working.
something in the room did change, though.
Well, yeah, it's probably because of Corey. 1 more years.
Check 1, 2.
There it is. Appreciate you guys watching. The voice you hear, but face you don't see, is my buddy Brian of Secret Pint BBQ. Definitely make sure to check him out. Great food, literally hands down the best sausage maker in the Southeast. I put him head to head against anybody. I got $2,000, my guy versus anybody.
I'll take best in the Southeast.
Yeah. See,
Easy.
finally. See. Now he's that confidence is starting to come up.
No. In the Southeast, there's just not that many dealing with what I do, so it's easy.
All right. Check on you. Turn all these things off. People are finding me on LinkedIn. I'm like, who's doing LinkedIn these days? I don't know.
Our good buddy Ted found hunted me down on LinkedIn.
Did he? Oh, Ted, man, we gotta. The next one we do, we gotta have Ted on here.
Just
to have him.
he would be down. He would be down.
I know. I feel horrible.
We need to get Richard on. We need to get Nate down.
Oh yeah.
Get Nate down to do it. Craig wants to do it.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, he hit me up. He's like, get me on. Or he's like, I want to meet Rashid.
No, that he doesn't want to do it. He just wants to meet me. He's going to be in for nothing but disappointment.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's start this stuff up here. I feel like I'm so close when they're like right there. You know, like, can you see me? Yeah, I guess that too works. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Let's go. Boom, that's going live.
All right,
And
and
3,
now-
2, 1, and let me clap that off because I keep recording with the metronome. Check, check. On just you're recording.
Check.
Boom, and 3, 2. Wait, nope. See, that's
You're saying you don't want to record the metronome in the background?
No, I definitely don't want to record with the metronome going on in the background. All right, so 3, 2. Hey, there we are. All over. I got this. Man, it's gonna be a constant. I'm glad we're not recording this like to put somewhere because my head's gonna be on the swivel the whole time. This is kind of crazy. So I will. No, let's pedal it back. We got to keep the crazy tradition. So go ahead and open us up today, Brian, with another bad good idea.
Okay, not bad, a good idea. And I'm sorry, I don't want to, I'm not trying to, crap on anybody with pellet grill, but what if pellet grills had an advanced mode? Where, hold on, wait for it. Every 30 to 45 minutes the temperature dropped and you couldn't change it on your phone. You actually had to go out and manually load pellets and adjust the temp on the dial.
Oh, it's not a bad idea.
Or if you buy one, if you get one with the advanced mode, you gotta pass the advanced cooks before you can use the easy.
So you actually have to do a test in order to buy. Oh my god.
No, not to buy it. No. I'm saying it comes the way, and you have to do 3 cooks doing it that way, where you have to go out and adjust every 45 minutes in order to get the mode that lets you just cook at the same temp the entire time.
So you basically get what is it you have to prove yourself.
Right.
That's not bad. That's not bad. You're gonna have a challenge mode on your pellet cooker.
Yeah, well, and then you can set different levels of challenge. So you could say I want to feel what it's cooking on a 500. So you check your wood every 45 minutes to an hour. Oh, I want to feel what it's cooking on a 94 gallon. So you check your wood every 15 to 20 minutes.
I could see that. Hey, Charlie.
Get no sleep.
Yeah, none at all. Like how you really cook. But let me do my spiel. Hey guys, welcome to This Week in Barbecue. I am your host, Rashid Phillips, and joining me is my co-host, Brian. And Brian is the owner and operator of Secret Pipe BBQ. Get used to hearing his voice and hopefully, wish upon a star, you get to see his lovely face and amazing beard one day. This Week in Barbecue is the barbecue-focused podcast that brings you the latest, the greatest, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything between in the world of barbecue. We answer your questions, we share a few laughs, and every once in a while we have a couple of drinks. What do you got for us today, Brian?
Well, first off, I feel like we got a question last week, and I answered it, but you didn't answer it.
There's a lot of anger in that response you had there.
No, it's my fault because I get long-winded sometimes, and I just went off on I espouse too much. Yeah. So okay, how did you get into barbecue?
That's a good question. How did I get into barbecue? I grew up around it, not necessarily the sense of the traditional American style barbecue. We grew up around open fire cooking. That's my wheelhouse. That's my get down.
I think live fire cooking, you can just kind of encompass it.
Yeah, I agreed, and that's for me it was. There wasn't a reverse smoker or 500 or 1,000 gallon. It was a split barrel drum, little hinge, or it was digging a hole in the ground and building up a good fire in embers and skewering red snapper to line across or pinning them to palm leaves and just letting them sort of slow go. That was sort of my introductory to it. It wasn't anything that was taught. That was just, hey, that's how dinner's made. There was definitely no insight into it as far as making it a living, making it a job. It was just survival. And I really got into it in 2010. I had a job. I was doing marketing for this tech company, and they had a holiday party, and I brought a smoked turkey. I made a smoked turkey on like the 1999 Walmart season one grill. You know what I'm talking about, the horrible spinning adjustment ordeal, and I made the bird there, and I'd forgotten just how much I enjoyed doing that. I'd always cooked, but I forgot that process and modding it, and it just kept going and going and going. So hopefully that answers the question.
So 2010, but like when did you like decide it's like, oh hey, I want to try and serve this to people?
Oh, like business. Paperwork for PBC filed in 2016. I was doing R&D stuff since like 2014, just getting the flavors and what have you, right? Giving it out to first responders, going to police stations, going to firehouses, because those guys can throw away some food, you know? But yeah, that's when it really like became an actual business where I was focused on trying to not just cook it a little bit better, but be better all the way around, and put my 10,000 hours in and just keep driving into practice. Yeah, back then.
All right, good. I want to make sure we got that answer.
I can see that, and we had another answer from our YouTube. So you guys watching me here, you'll see me turn this way because I'm also on the old YouTubes. If you're not subscribed, please do. You get to sadly see more of this. But he had asked, what do I like about my Shirley, and would I do anything different? For those of you who aren't familiar, when he references my Shirley, he's talking about my main gal, Penny. Penny is my reverse flow 500 gallon smoker that was made by Shirley Fabrication. Shout out to Tyler, Paul, the whole crew, Ross. Appreciate you guys so much. I love my rigs. Penny was my first. I've got Phoebe my second. Phoebe is my Swiss Army knife. Phoebe's got a Santa Maria on it. I designed the firebox to be inverted and insulated so that I can use it as a pizza oven. It's got a vertical smoker on it. It's got a 175 gallon reverse flow interior chamber, 3 shells. I can do rotisserie on it. You put me and Phoebe anywhere in the world, I can cook anything on Phoebe. There's not a thing I'll change. On Penny has the same size firebox as one of my other 500s, and she's designed a little different. If I had to change something on Penny, I would have changed the fact that she's not fully insulated for the firebox. Would have liked that, but the reason why I didn't do that at the time of the design was I wanted the griddle cooktop to be functional. So on top of Penny, there's a lid that I can lift up and hinge, and I can set my cast irons on there to like do eggs or steaks. I think Brownie Bash Pontoon last year, I actually made the morning crew at Pontoon brisket egg burritos on the
Okay, yeah.
I made it right then and there. So that's how I switch things up. I'm trying to see how I can get to all of your guys' questions here.
Oh, hey, well, if you're not familiar with Shirley Fabrication, follow their YouTube. Paul gives tours, and I love his intro. I don't know. It's Shirley Fabrication, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It's great. One of my favorite videos ever was him when the first straight offset he built.
Yeah.
And he just didn't know what to do with it. Like, you could see he's like, this is not what I built. I have no idea. He was like confused as to why anybody would want to cook her that way. And it's one of the greatest videos, like barbecue cooker videos I've ever seen on YouTube.
The guys over at Shirley are amazing, man. And shout out once again, Ross, if you're looking for a rig, and if you've seen Penny, if you've seen Phoebe, or if you want design ideas, just hit up Ross and say, hey, Sheed sent me, I want the Penny or I want the Phoebe, and he'll know exactly what you mean. Hey, Smokey, how you doing, brother? They're just great guys, and literally some of the hardest working guys putting out smokers today. They're right up there with, M&M BBQ Co., with Mill Scale, AJ Customs, Primitive, well-crafted machines, guys.
They're a hell of the welders.
Oh my gosh, stack of dimes. I've never seen well smoother. It's ridiculous what they do. People think that they have machines welded firms. Like, no. I've seen these guys up close. Their hands are that steady. They're just that good.
And is Paul still doing his full-time job?
Paul is still
Like,
doing his
that's
full-time
crazy to
job.
me.
That's what a lot of people don't know. Paul is still working at the refinery, I believe.
That's insane.
So, first bit of news, I'll start on this one. Shout out to the Sultan of Swine, Mr. Rodney Scott himself, for opening up another location, one time for Rodney. And on top of that, he's also released some new rubs as well. So he's got new rubs, new location. If I'm not mistaken, Rodney's probably in Chicago right now for Windy City.
I was actually surprised the first state to get a second location is Alabama. I would have thought South Carolina.
Well, yeah, I was, well, he's doing, well, no, he wouldn't do South Carolina. I know he's doing that other project in Tennessee, with Eric, this big country musician. They're
Oh,
a
is it-
6-story.
Is it Eric Church?
Yes,
Okay.
Eric Church. I don't, if you guys can tell, I'm obviously not familiar. Eric Church and the man himself, Mr. Rodney Scott, are opening up a 6-floor restaurant, bar, music venue. It's like, I'm there. Whenever it happens, man, I'm there.
No, I figured you would have opened something in Columbia, kind of on the other side of the state. Because, like, that side of the state really doesn't have that much of a whole hog, so.
No, definitely not, definitely. But hey, everybody. Hey, Lacey. Hey, Queen. Thank you, guys. If you've got questions here on the old Instagrams or on the YouTube, drop them in the comments and we're going to be fielding them. But that was my little touch of news to start us off. I got a little bit more. What do you got going for us, Brian?
So, Koi Barbecue is currently working on their brick and mortar location outside of Houston. And while they're doing that, they've been doing this backyard barbecue experience.
All right.
So last month they had Interstellar Barbecue for like a dinner where they do more kind of they're using smoke to do like more focused dishes. And it's like a more intimate experience. So this month they are going to be doing it with Leroy and Lewis out of Austin. So it's going to be at Koi Barbecue's brick and mortar location. Tickets go on sale tomorrow, August 5th. There's only 50.
Tomorrow is Friday.
Yeah. So if this goes up after then, sorry if it's already sold out. But it's a
Basically, what he's saying is hurry up, shoot, and get this video and recording out as soon as possible.
So it's a 50-seat dinner with that they're doing with Leroy and Lewis, and so they'll be doing that I think once a month until they open. So follow their page and be on the lookout for when they announce those kind of events.
And we're gonna have the link in the bio because Brian's gonna send it to me and I'm gonna.
Well, they haven't even posted a link yet.
Oh, really?
They're not posting it until tomorrow.
Okay. Well.
So yeah, I'll link you to their Instagram story about the event.
Perfect. And before we get into one more piece of news, I'm doing this off camera on both of the cameras. Remember when I told you last week that someone got me.
Hopefully no one saw that.
No, I made sure it wasn't on any cameras. That turtle, I had turtle's rub. What does it smell like, Brian? Tell the people, what does it smell like?
Okay, so it kind of does smell like ramen mix. I smell a little bit of Lowry's. I think that's what it is, but it's probably too much.
Yeah, it's a little bit of Lowry's and Oodles and Noodles chicken flavoring. Basically a $15, $16 bottle.
Oh, there's one ingredient on here that makes so much more sense.
What is it?
Like I can't say it because then people might figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, but honestly, I'll tell you after the episode, and then you'll.
Yeah, it tastes like it though.
Yeah.
A little different, but it tastes just like.
No, I know it's not straight Lowry's. There's something else in there that makes more sense of why it tastes like ramen.
Hey, D Nice, how you doing? Or Denise?
Yeah, I would not put that on my brisket.
I wouldn't put that on anything.
That's really salty too.
Yes, it is. That is more of like a brine liquid or a brine powder than any type of actual like seasoning. Like that is extremely strong. So the first time I got that, we did a side-by-side cook and it just came out so salty.
Yeah, I figured I would say you put a base coat of pepper on before you, and then use this in instead of salt, but like
You need to use that so sparingly, it's so strong.
I'm looking at the ingredients and there's actually no pepper unless it's in spices, which is, let's see, one, two, okay, I shouldn't get like, let's just say it's like 6 or 7 down. I can't give an exact number again because people might figure this out.
We're trying to be BC, which is barbecue correct here, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very tight community, and we don't shun it.
There's 2 ingredients, and I'll tell you about them afterwards on why it tastes like ramen mix.
Yeah, it's legitimately a $16 bottle of ramen. Is that a caramel? Pops is asking, is that a caramel frappaquad? No, Pops, it's a macchiato. What Pops is trying to get at, if you guys aren't aware, he's jumping ahead, but I'll go ahead and announce his news now. Pops had a giant billboard, Pops, aka Mr. Kevin Bledsoe, had a giant billboard in Penn Station, Penn Square, I believe.
No, was it in Times Square?
It was. I thought I think it was Times Square, but he tagged it Penn Square. Pops,
okay.
If you're in there, let me know where it was exactly. But he has a giant billboard on both corners showing Amazon's top-selling book, and not just cookbook, but book, and it's his. They've got his mug plastered 5 stories across for people to see, and that's just an amazing feat there. So nothing but deep congratulations to you for that one.
Oh, it is. He did tag Penn Station.
Yeah, so it was Penn Station. That's what I saw it as. But,
yeah, that's my bad. I just assumed it was Times Square.
I thought it was too. You know, maybe that's the next up. Hey, Queen NY. Would you make your brownies for someone's birthday? I don't know. I don't know. Everyone wants me to make my brownies. The cornbread, that cornbread I'm gonna show was that hit. What you guys didn't see was after they hit yelled cut, Melissa actually took the extras that I'd made and went to her trailer and just demolished them. So that makes me feel good.
And those drop biscuits.
Yeah. I make pretty good. I got a couple of tricks and stuff that I don't put out there all the time. But I guess let's roll into unless you've got another piece of news you want to share now or save it.
Yeah, I got one, and so I've been, whenever I do news, I've been mostly focusing on Texas, so it's only fitting that we actually do something in Atlanta.
Yeah, because we're so close here in Atlanta.
So Fox Brothers and Taqueria del Sol are doing their annual Hatch Chili Fest for Hogs for a Cause on August 21st. Tickets are on sale now. They're still general admission, VIP, and drink tickets. And they're bringing in people from out of town, so they'll have Blue Oak Barbecue from New Orleans joining them.
Okay.
So that should be a pretty fun event. So all centered around Hatch chilies that they fly in from New Mexico and roast before the event.
Okay.
And so they'll build recipes around that.
Right on. Good deal. I guess we'll definitely have to try to make an attendance there. I had a question that I think we should both answer, and it just sort of threw me off here a little bit because I did not see that coming. Goodness, where did it go? It was a good question too, but
This could be great for the podcast.
it is going to be great for the podcast. Hey, this is why we do this stuff live, and I'll cut it up and edit it later so I seem like a pro. That's a lie. I'm actually just going to leave it all the same because you guys get the raw truth of it. But Denise asked, about to tackle ribs for a family, and wanted to ask, what makes the biggest difference in ribs being tender? Brining or slow, not sure, or slow long baking or boiling? First off, we don't boil ribs here.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with.
I'm not doing this with you.
Hey,
I'm
look,
not doing this
man,
with you today.
My-
Oh gosh.
One of my favorite rib spots. They don't call themselves barbecue. They call themselves a rib joint. They boil the ribs and finish them on the grill, and they're pretty tasty.
We don't boil ribs.
I don't boil ribs.
I don't boil ribs. That's why I said we.
Yeah, we don't boil
We don't
ribs.
boil.
But I'm just saying, like, I've had good ribs that have been boiled.
I just can't do it.
No, I would never do it.
No, you're not touching that.
So, I mean, there are plenty of oven recipes to get really tender ribs. Like, I think Alton Brown has a really good one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a story behind that.
We're not saying,
We're not saying
anything.
But
we're being BC, barbecue correct.
so there are a couple really good good recipes for oven ribs.
Okay.
Okay, so I think there's a stigma against temping ribs.
I don't see why. I'll tempt ribs.
No, I tempt ribs all the time, and because I think especially with spare ribs, like full spares, they people are like when they start to bend, they're done. That's not true. They can like give like almost like a false bend.
That is true. But when I think once you've cooked enough ribs, you know when it's just that first bottom membrane going. And side note, this is why we pull the membrane off.
I leave my membrane on. But I also flip so it gets heat directly on the membrane and cooks the membrane more.
See, this is what you get, ladies and gentlemen, just the pure honest truth. We cook alike but so different all at the exact same time. I don't flip my ribs. They shimmy, they dance, but they don't flip. They may rotate from hot spots and so forth. More like musical chairs and flip.
Okay, so on baby backs I do pull the membrane. On spares I don't.
I pull on everything. I actually just got a case of babies that I've got some content for this brand that I reached out. I gotta create for them. So they sent me a case of them. And I'm gonna be pulling the membranes on all of them. That's just what even on my beef ribs, I pull them. And that for people wondering, like, it's okay to pull membranes. It's okay to leave them on.
I leave them on them. I don't encourage people to eat them, but I leave them on the beef. I leave them on the beef.
Then why leave them on?
I leave them on the beef ribs because the way, like especially the 3-bone dino ribs, you kind of have to because they'll fall apart if you don't.
No.
Like the bone will drop completely. Like that middle bone will just drop out.
You can, if need be, you can trust. Like if you guys have been seeing the stuff, I've been suspending a lot of the meats cooking lately. So I'm trusting damn near everything. I'm trusting the birds, trusting lamb, steaks, ribs. Everything's getting tied up.
Yeah,
Shibari all over the place.
It's one less step for me to do.
I'm trying to practice, trying to hone my skills, put those Boy Scout knot tying skills to work, see if I'm still rusty or not.
So with ribs, so follow there are plenty of good YouTube oven rib recipes.
Yes, there are.
The big thing is like depending on what ribs you do, like so say full spares and then say you're gonna temp them. In order to you don't want them to fall completely off the bone.
No, that is not good.
But you want them to be tender, so you want to pull them in the 190 to 195 range. That's kind of where I feel that they'll carry over a little bit, and they'll give you a good bite through, and they'll be tender. And if you want to try, like if you took and just pulled the meat off the bone, you could do it, but it's not gonna fall off the bone. Where if you cook them to 200 and beyond, it's just gonna
slides
fall
off. Yeah,
and
you gotta have bite through.
And if you want more of the Rodney Scott with a little bit of tension in the bite, pull them about 180, 185.
And let that carry over hit it. I think one of the best compliments I've gotten from a fellow Q came from you. You were like, these are one of the best set of ribs I ever made. And that was when I switched up my mop sauce to a Rodney style mop sauce, and I've been strolling with that ever since. Mind you, though, I still haven't made a ton of ribs since then. I think I made a couple of racks, but those are so cool.
I mean, that Rodney Scott is like some of my favorite ribs, period.
The salt and the swine, man, which is hilarious because people come to town and like, I'm gonna go buy Rodney's, what do I get? I always tell them to get the smoked wings.
Smoked wings and the smoked wings and ribs.
Yeah, those
and
are
maybe even the
monsters.
steak sandwich. I think the steak sandwich is kind of like a low key item.
It is a sleeper. It is a sleeper. Some guy on me said we don't boil ribs. We don't. I just can't. I mean, I guess
Shout out to Fat Mats.
Fat Mats, and like I said, they're a rib joint, not a barbecue joint. So
they will tell you that to your face. It's like we're not a barbecue joint. We're a rib joint. It's completely different.
Someone said, my folks sometimes boil ribs to get the impurities and extra fat. But some don't. No, and this is all jokes. And thank you, Ghost Man. I appreciate it. We're not knocking anyone for doing anything however you do it. The whole point of this is learning. You've got to go through everything, from brining your briskets in Coke to brining your bus, all that. You go through whatever you go through to get to a point that you enjoy and a technique that works for you. As long as you're happy with that end result, Out of town.
The boiling pork thing, I like, if you see a lot of recipes and like for Chinese like pork belly and stuff, they boil the pork before they're doing a lot of the other parts of the recipe to render a little bit of fat and boil. I've never heard boiling off the impurities, but like it's something that like other cultures do. It's not it's not like
It's a
weird
cultural
thing.
thing. Like black households, we wash our rice and wash our chicken. Just happens. It's one of those things. Like,
You should wash your rice.
You should wash your, but a lot of people don't wash their rice. You'd be surprised how many people don't know. They're like, what do you mean you wash your rice? Like with soap? No, you rinse that bad boy till it's nice and clear. You get out all the bad grains. I used to watch my grandma sit on the stoop in Jamaica with a giant bowl, searching through all the grains, getting out all the dead ones because we had our own source, and we just wash them. And you can always tell quality rice versus crappy rice at how white it is, how much silt and starch comes off when you wash it, like basmati and jasmine and Thai jasmine. Beautiful, fragrant rices that one or two rinses done. Not like your cheap, bag Walmart, you're washing that thing for 5-10 minutes and it's still cloudy trying to get it going, but that's just me. That's my rice choices.
I mean, something I started doing with grits is I'll pre-soak the grits overnight and let the bad stuff float to the top and skim that out.
People don't know about that trick. Now you guys just got one. You guys just got a little win there. This one came from Lacey. How early do people need to get to the pop-ups to make sure we get a plate before it's
Yours is a little different than mine.
Don't know what show up to line, man. I pay all those people. They're actors. They're just extras. I got them all from Walking Dead set.
You got some deep state actors.
I pay very well.
No. So for mine, it depends on which venue I'm doing it at. Usually 15 minutes is pretty good.
I kind of wish I could do that.
Yeah, the anniversary one was different. If you weren't in line by 1:15, there was a chance you didn't get food.
Yeah. So for me, in the most modest and humblest of ways, because it is very different. And the thing is, I started amassing crowds before the show too. But when I first started, I didn't. I would just get whatever's there. Rarely would I get a ton of people coming out. But after a couple of months, they started realizing, and then PBC became a name like, oh, you don't have the barbecue guy here? You don't have them there? So started getting more invites and building a following. Shout out to Eventide was where I first started getting a really, really big crowd. But now for my events, if I say, what the last one was 2 weeks ago? Yeah, 2-3 weeks ago.
It was longer than that.
No, it was in July because her birthday was July 13th.
So July 16th, so maybe 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, 3 weeks. It was 3 weeks. Flyer said 1 p.m. We had people literally sitting with a chair at 10:45.
Was that when Kevin showed up?
That's when Kevin showed up. He was the first one. Literally 2 minutes later, 24 more people came after him, and they just kept coming.
So when people see that first person lineup, all bets are off.
Yeah. So at 10:45 was the first. 10:46 we had 25 people. By the time we opened, we just had a full long. It was long.
I mean, it depends on what joint you're going to. There's certain spots in Texas that if you're not there by 10 o'clock, Franklin, you have to be there way before that.
Franklin, you just don't go to sleep.
Right. Yeah, you're there at 6 a.m. I don't know what even snowed. The first time I went to Snows, I got there at 6 a.m., but that was pre-Netflix, pre-pandemic. I don't even know.
I feel like you've got to be there earlier. Now is one of those times where you got to use your Pitmaster Pass. You just got to.
Well, I think you got to be there by midnight. I think it's almost like a Black Friday thing now.
Black Friday deal.
But there's no deals.
No. The deal is you got a plate, and you should be happy about it.
I mean, they do give you free beer, but
That's just true.
Yeah,
which is also, we know why, but we're going to leave that out of here. We'll leave that out. We can't expose all the secrets. We'd love to have you come do a barbecue seminar in Nashville. Why do you guys want me in Nashville? I can barely get a seminar going in Georgia. I don't need to be embarrassed across multiple states.
Just email him and he'll be right there.
Yeah, shoot an email. That's why I have someone answer emails for me because Lord knows I can't do it. Let's see here. So that was that question. I feel like that went on for a little, but we do have there was one that I wanted us both to answer that came in. And I really appreciate you guys so much for submitting these questions. It's really, really cool. There's always so many of them that I don't always get to go through all of them, but it's nice. Now this one got me. This is from Bruised Bruise, who oftentimes submits questions and always comments, is always listening. So I appreciate that. I want to make sure I answered his question. He said, "I've got too many tomatoes growing this season. Tired of pasta and salsa. What do you recommend?"
BLT. Well, I mean, okay.
There we
Tomato
go.
okra stew. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways. I mean, like, so I have family in South Carolina, and they'll make a tomato pie. It's not my thing. I'm not huge into tomatoes, but like, I mean, I like during tomato season, I like to get at least one BLT because like Kenji Lopez, he says a BLT is not a bacon sandwich; it's a tomato sandwich.
Because the tomato is supposed to be the star.
Right, and also salt your tomatoes. Just salt your tomatoes before when you put them on a sandwich.
Yeah, people are in here like you can donate them. Mexican beef stew. I was thinking of dehydrating them and make yourself some sun-dried tomatoes and just hang on to those. Brother, Bruised, the way these prices for everything is going, it's skyrocketing, right? So hang on to your extras because you may never know. May end up having to barter with neighbors one day. But do some sun-drieds if you can. Make jar sauce. Make actual pasta sauce and start jarring it. You can make some gazpacho. You know, do a nice grilled cheese and tomato soup. Like that requires a fair amount of it as well. And I like the idea of donating it. If it's that absorbent, if it's like beyond the amount you can actually handle, donate them. Make a giant batch of sauces or make some meals and soups and drop them off at your local fire department or police department. They'll be eternally grateful, you know?
Well, yeah, I don't know where they live, but like we have a program in Atlanta, the free fridge program.
Yeah.
Where you can donate them to like community fridges.
Yep.
That will go to people that need fresh produce.
Your local church as well would gladly take that. That soup kitchen at the church will take it. So those are some options for you, man. I like this question. Good one, JP of all trades. I'm gonna shoot this one to you first because I didn't want to answer it first. What constitutes as a pitmaster, and when can you call yourself one?
I don't like the term pitmaster.
Now you've got to tell them why.
Okay, so if you're familiar with Malcolm Gladwell, which book is it that he talks about the 10,000 hour rule? It's not Blink.
You go on, I'll chime in with
Right,
that.
okay. So the idea is that if you invest 10,000 hours into anything, you will become a master at it.
Outliers was the book.
Outliers, okay, that's like,
Great book.
yeah, great book. Which is, it's a little absurd if you think about it. Like, I mean, what's the difference between you investing 5,000 hours and 10,000 hours? Like, it's still an extraordinary amount of time.
It is.
I think in order to really call yourself a pitmaster, and I don't like the term, I think you need to be someone, I think it should be reserved for people like Rodney Scott and Miss Tootsie.
Earned and deserved.
But they're also keeping a tradition. Like, they're cooking on pits. Mm-hmm. Like, I know everybody calls like a smoker their pit or whatever, but like, if you've ever been to Snow's or Rodney Scott's or even the Scott's Barbecue, the original, edition, and you've stood next to one of those burn barrels or like one of those burn pits and you're shoveling those coals and those things are out putting 400, 500 degree heat. Mm-hmm. And and you're cooking based on feel. You're not using any temperature gauges. That's when I think you can call yourself a pit master. Like I've cooked a lot, and I believe I'm so far away from even being able to earn that thing. I'm just a barbecue cook. That's the way I look at it.
I dig that.
I mean, how do you feel?
That's a tricky one. I never called myself a pitmaster. Even with the show, they're like said, I was like, nope. It literally took Pops coming over to tell me like, no, so you earned it. So I believe it's one of those things. When you're good, you tell everybody. When you're great, everyone tells you, type of thing. When you've hit that mark, people will tell you. I don't think you self-impose it. Like even on my my business cards, it doesn't say it.
Yeah,
It doesn't say it. It just says my name and then like underneath like contact Corey.
yeah. Well, I mean, like on my business card, they tried to put chef and pitmaster. I'm like, no, that's another term I don't like. Chef. It's like I didn't go to culinary school. I didn't pay my dues in the kitchen. I don't want to be called a chef. Like I think there's like a level of commitment that I don't know I haven't earned.
Well, I had a conversation. Shout out to Chef Tony, the head chef over at A. Lene in Washington, and we went back and forth. And I'm more accepting of that title than I am pitmaster. And we just talked about it because with that, it's just in the kitchen scene because we're in a monstrous kitchen. They have a beautiful kitchen. In that environment, it is a term of respect more so than it is. You've got these stripes or this fancy hat or whatever. No, it's just a term of respect. Like, hey, I respect your craft and what you do and the skill level that you are at to be able to conduct and lead a kitchen, because that's what it was. Like I was there doing what I had to do, but I was also delegating and directing, and you're almost a conductor of the kitchen and the space and the people that are answering to you to get the job done. So it's just a term of endearment and respect in that sense of that world for me. That's when I'll take, yes, chef, or, behind you chef, passing corner, stuff like that. So for that world, in that sense, I'm more accepting of it than I would be of being called a pitmaster. And I remember a story B was telling me, shout out to Brian Furman and Mr. Dr. Howard Conyers. B hates the term pitmaster. Hates it, absolutely hates it, despises it, never wanted to be called it. And I believe it was a conversation between he and Dr. Conyers where Doc, said, guys who looked like us doing the work back in the day, no white man on the face of the planet was going to end any sentence addressing us with master. You know what I mean? So to be able to hold that title now and be called it, just like them calling your name, it's something to just hold up high and be like, oh wow, yeah, this is this craft. And it's relatively new. Like pitmasters didn't exist when the craft was really forged and going on. That word didn't happen. Everything ended in boy. House boy, cowboy. Yes, cowboys were black. It was probably a pit boy or a fire boy before it was a pit master. That just evolved and changed. So I look at having that title. It's a big thing, and I think a lot comes with that title. More so than the title is the knowledge. Like if you're a pit master, and I talk with Rodney and Pops about this all the time, and even Dr. Conyers, you're a harborist. You know what woods need. You recognize your species. You're a butcher because you know how to break down your proteins. Anyone and their mama can break down a bird, but can you break down half a cow? Can you break down a hog if you need be? Do you know where you have to cut, where your joints are? Do you have the rough knowledge of how to navigate? I think the people who chase it to run to be called a pitmaster, that are so happy about it, not that you shouldn't be, they're the same ones who just get all their meat broken down and done, which is nothing wrong with it. Not knocking it, really not knocking it. But I think you should also understand the idea and the process of how to get to just that leg quarter that you're going to do, or can you break down that Spirit of St. Louis, or and so forth. Can you maneuver? Do you have knife skills? Are you aware of the anatomy of some of the stuff that you're cooking? Like there's a lot of information that goes into it that that leads to being a pit master. And I'll still say this, just up until last year, I was still splitting and stacking and sourcing my own wood because one, I'm a lumberjack, I enjoy it. And then two, it's just the knowledge of knowing what good is good wood, how long does it season. I wanted that hands-on feel and experience, and it was saving me an obscene amount of money. So that was just one more thing I put under my belt, and I studied butchering, and I made sure I know how I can break down my animals. Like, I did a show a couple months back, and it was over, and I had all this extra meat. It was still whole. Put my gloves on, took out my knife, my little old hickory, and got to work breaking it all down and vacuum sealing it and dumping it in my deep freezers. Like, I haven't had to buy beef for personal consumption in so long, beef and pork. Haven't had to buy it in so long because I broke down like a half a cow and 2 whole hogs. I broke it all down. They're just vacuum sealed, ready to go whenever I need them. Long answer, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So you're mentioning about knowing where your protein comes from. Brian Furman, there was a video on YouTube, and I can't remember if it was Bon Appetit or somebody else.
You want a peculiar farm?
Well, it was the hostess. Like, he took her to the slaughterhouse and said, "This is where."
Munchies.
Was it a Munchies video?
It was a Munchies video,
and
they went
like,
there.
and paying respect to the animal and knowing what it went through, where it came from, how it was raised. And having all of that knowledge before it even gets to where he can season it and throw it on his cooker.
Yeah.
And like, she got emotional about it, and it makes perfect sense. It's like knowing, hey, like, there's so much that goes into this before it even gets to the person's plate that you may not even think of it.
It is, and I think it was Lewis who said, for as many hands and time that goes into barbecue, it should be up there with all the Michelin star restaurants.
Yeah, Elliot Moss has said the same. Yeah, Elliot Moss has said the same thing. Barbecue really should be way more expensive than it is. Barbecue should be as much or more than a steakhouse.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down. And I think because everyone wants it to be so easily accessible on the table, like quick service meal, like it's not a quick service meal.
No.
It's a very long service, but it's devoured quickly.
Well, it's a quick service that's a long preparation.
Yes, that's better said, more eloquently put.
Yeah, because like once it's done, it's super quick to get a barbecue plate out compared to cooking a hamburger. It just like when someone orders a hamburger, it's gonna take longer to cook a hamburger and get it to them at a restaurant than it is to say, I want a slice of brisket.
You just slice it and wear it off. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
No, that was a good one. Yeah, everyone's agreeing. Mr. Carter is agreeing, stating, barbecue equals steakhouse pricing. Yeah, that's right. Let's see, we had a lot of other questions actually. You make a chili sauce? I'm trying to really. I have to ask you this one because you said you want to avoid talking bad about them, but thoughts on a pellet smoker? Getting up at 4 a.m. to cook is a pain sometimes.
Look, the great thing about a pellet smoker is
Never thought you'd start a sentence like that.
Look, here's the thing is, if you've done the thing of getting up at 4 a.m. and you're like, this is not for me, and you're just thinking about getting a pellet smoker, for that reason, it's like, I just want some barbecue that I can throw on, and I don't want to go out to a restaurant. I want to have a pork butt on the weekends or some ribs or whatever. Perfectly fine, makes sense. Pellet smokers are the same way that I look at like
Air fryers?
No, not air fryers. I was gonna say, in terms of like the product that you get, I've used some really cheap pellet smokers, and I've used at a friend's house, and I've used some more expensive pellet smokers, and I like the way the more expensive pellet smokers run is significantly better than the cheap smokers that you can just get.
Okay.
Like the big thing is like really dirty smoke, and they don't handle cooking at higher temperatures better.
No.
Yeah. So if you're gonna get a pellet smoker, save up, get one that comes from a respected brand, whatever your preference is.
Respected pellet brands? I'm just trying to bait them, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. I'm trying to talk less crap about pellet smokers.
We're trying to get the show endorsed by pellet smokers, so we're not trying to burn all the bridges, but we'll light a few on fire.
Right. No, I think it's the perfect way. It's like, hey, I want to do a certain style of cooking without, the time commitment. Like
Yeah.
someone asked, how can I do an overnight brisket last week?
Yeah.
And there's like Matt from Meat Church. He has that video how to do a workday brisket on a pellet smoker.
Yes, check out Matt Pittman, Meat Church, great guy. His brother just pranked him by literally buying a giant billboard and having the boat pull it across and park in front of them on the beach with his number on there, and you see the swarm of people come over to start talking to him. Those are great pranks. Those are good pranks.
Yeah, there is a place for every type of cooker.
There is.
It's just not something I'm gonna do. It's not something you're gonna do.
No, it's not.
Right, but that's because there's like
Under normal circumstances, I should say.
right, but there's nothing wrong with a pellet smoker, and I called it the democratization of barbecue.
The democratization of barbecue.
Right.
Okay.
It makes a something that was this barrier to entry of time commitment, and makes it easier for everybody. It's not the same thing. The more time and effort you put on it, it's gonna be better. But the point of entry is it's an easier stepping point.
I think it's not a horrible way to start, because and someone asked this, like, what can I learn on a pellet? And I said, you cannot learn fire management, you cannot learn temp control, and you cannot learn adjustments, but you can build a hell of a palette focusing on flavor and recipe development, because you're removing 4 out of the 5 hard obstacles. You don't have to worry about airflow, this or that. You just have to make sure you pay your light bill. But you can develop your flavors and your recipes and slowly start to get an idea. My thing is, you've got these, and I think, we don't do brand names because we don't get checks, but I think there's some models out there that have like smoke mode or intensified activated smoke mode, where it just restricts the airflow so your pellets get really smoky to infuse your food with more smoke. But the issue with that is there isn't enough travel room for that extra smoke in that chamber, so you quickly end up getting acrid or bitter very fast. The thing about cooking on a reverse or straight or just wood smoker is we can do so many tricks in just that firebox alone that completely change the profile. We can double stack log cabinet, use wet wood, greener wood, do a little mixture, taper off, and we've got enough travel and flow to where it's not going to build up in that chamber as it would somewhere else. But that's my personal take when it comes to like what you can use your pellet or electric type smoker for, is nail that flavor development.
Well, I mean, there's also other there are other solutions to do easier cooks, because you could get a ceramic cooker and get one of those fan controllers.
Yeah.
And so you could almost so if you already have a ceramic cooker, instead of going and saying, oh hey, I want to buy a pellet grill, you could get one of those fan controllers for it, and you can program in your phone to set a certain temp, and so every time it opens up, you'll have a grade level thermometer that will read the temperature, so when it drops, the fan will kick on and add some more air so the temperature gets up to where you need it to be, and when it gets up to where it needs to be, the fan will cut off. So there are it's more of a DIY project because you got to put it together yourself.
Yeah.
But there are options out there where if you already have a certain type of cooker, you can get equipment to make it easier.
Yeah, you can modify, and my guys and I, we're working on something that will show you some of the best ways to modify various cookers that you have, whether it be kettle, offset, or, well, not really pellet, because it's not much modification you can do there instinctively, but we're working on some stuff, but it's definitely ways to adjust it. Hey, Naples Rat Rod, right on. St. Louis, you guys have a festival or something with Primo next week? They're doing I think their big anniversary, barbecue shebang out there. Mr. Carter says barrel cookers are convenient, but you can still have some fire management. Yeah, barrel cookers are. I think I would almost rather people get a barrel cooker than go get something like a pellet, because there's just so much more flavor to be had in raw wood splits, and even if you burn out and make your own coal and things like that, so much more flavor to be had that way. But neither here nor there. Everyone's got their own thing, whatever works for them. Good.
Yeah, I mean,
All right. Well. You have any more news, or were you still want to flow through some questions?
no, let's just go through questions. I had my 2 pieces of news.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it's honestly hard to find more than 2 usually.
Oh, I usually have a whole stream, but I think people enjoy the back and forth a little bit more, so that's why I kind of ride with that. This one's a pretty good one. 2 of them actually. What's the best way to prepare steaks that are going on the grill? Brine, dry rub, how long?
Okay, so what you want to do with the steak, this is the easy one, is if you have a baking sheet and one of those baking racks.
Yep.
So salt the steak, throw it on the baking rack inside the baking sheet, throw it in the fridge, let it sit overnight.
But I know that, and I understand that, but you've got gaps you have to fill.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, like, so the reason that you're doing that is you're drying out the exterior, you're pulling moisture out of the steak, and so when you throw it on the grill, you're going to get a quicker Maillard reaction and develop a crust quicker.
I was about to say, follow it up with the definition.
Right.
Because remember, I know that we.
Right. Well, I'm just giving them a step by step of like, here's the one thing that you can do that will immediately make a better steak. Like I don't brine steaks.
I don't brine steaks.
Well, I mean, I guess it is kind of a dry. The salt is a dry brine in theory. But like no a wet brine steak, no, because the thing with a wet brine steak is you can brine the steak, then you're going to have to pat it dry, because if you don't pat it dry, you're not going to develop that crust when it gets on the fire.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So I like the salt dry brine overnight, and you're right. And I just had how you break it down, because you put that on the tray, because it's going to sweat, it's going to release moisture. Just depending how much salt you use, how long you leave it in there, you could end up seeing it shrink down maybe 10 or 15%. Just depending, you'll see a little bit of color change in the fat, just depending on the quality of the steak that you started out with. I always suggest get a nice thick steak, at least an inch,
Inch and a half, 2 inches.
Yeah, but now they're cutting them where they look like pork chops. I'm like, this is a steak?
Shout out to Publix. Publix will give you, like, you go to a Publix and you can get those thick cut ribeyes.
Thing and a half,
Yeah,
2 inch thick, those beefy boys.
Right, and so say you do this trick and then you set it in overnight and you wake up in the morning before you go to work, flip it, because that bottom side is not going to dry out as quicker as the top side. Yeah. So you flip it, you'll dry it off, so it's really good to go right when you get home.
No, that's good. I think that's what I'm gonna title this episode. I like my steaks BBW. It's just thick, man. And when I broke down that cow, I made sure it was all thick, thick pieces I would never get at, like the grocery store would never sell me. But because for me, it allows you to, on a very 2.5 inch to 3 to 4 inch, because I've got some that are 4 inch for Florentines. You can toss that on straight fire, flames hitting it. Not gonna do a thing. Not gonna burn it. Nothing's happening. Only thing that's getting warm is that bone, and that's gonna be your heat conductor. And I've got a special project that I'll be releasing. It's gonna help tie all of this together. Stay tuned.
Oh, and another thing is if you have the time and you want to do it, if you're even gonna, you could finish your steak on the grill and you could do what they call a reverse sear.
Oh, Brian, what's a reverse sear? I've never heard of that before.
So set your oven to like 225, 250.
Okay.
Again, leave your steak on that baking rack with the baking sheet so it's slightly elevated, because if it touches the pan, it's gonna cook a little bit faster than if it's got that air gap in there.
Yeah.
So what you can do is you can put it in the oven, and it's gonna take anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour, hour and a half. And then you will get, what do you pull, like 117, 120?
I do about, I like mine to finish at 124 and slowly creep to 126. So I'll pull at like 118, 120,
You're-
120 if it's cold outside.
Right, but you're more on that's more towards the,
Yeah, I
the
do
rare side.
I like mine partially mooing and still throwing it back on. That's how I get down. My
Pittsburgh
steaks.
style.
Always, man, always. I'd go. There's only one other person that I know, and shout out to my buddy Daniel. Daniel, if you're listening, man, I hope that oxtail and dishes turned out. But Daniel loves blue steak, just like I do. We like blue Florentine steaks, and I love a good blue Florentine. Like, gosh, that's just so good for me. But on like the regular everyday stuff, yeah, rare, medium rare if I've got to do it, but I get down with rare.
So, I say if you're looking for more medium rare, take it out between 120 and 125.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a key thing is like
Well, a little earlier than that.
Oh, yeah, so, like-
because you've got that carryover.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, if the oven's low enough, it will be a slower carryover.
I'm sorry, guys. What we mean by carryover is meat does not stop cooking the moment you pull it off of heat. It actually continues to cook. It's sort of the same reason that you'll see people blanch or cool off their macaroni noodles in like ice cold water or rinse with cold water to stop the cooking process. Because if not, that heat doesn't immediately dissipate. It stays cooking and cooking. So when we say carryover, that's what we mean by carryover.
So, and another thing, speaking of carryover, a lot of people, they'll take the steak out of the reverse sear and they'll immediately put it in the pan or on the grill to sear it. Don't do that. Let it sit for 15 to 30 minutes so that it can come down, so that when you actually go to sear it, say finish it on the grill, you're really just getting that outer crust, and the temperature in the middle is going to creep up a little bit instead of continuing to carry over at a faster speed. So you're more likely to hit the medium rare that you want, where if you immediately throw it on the grill right out of the reverse sear in the oven, there's a good chance that you may overshoot it and it's going to be more medium.
Yeah, and something to me, I just like the way rare steaks look and taste, and when seasoned right and you just do some stuff. Like it's bad when your buddies just start showing up to your house with food like, hey, you mind cooking this for me? I legitimately had my buddy show up to the house with a steak a couple of weeks back, and he was like, do you mind cooking us some steaks? It's like, I got a thought. He's like, no, I brought some. I was like, what? It's like, all right, cool. And this was not how I traditionally do a steak, but I got out some of my fancy stuff because there's a really good black Angus got some black truffle out there, got this blue cheese powder that I've been working on, and mixed it up and just knocked it out in like 15 minutes. Like that tasted great. It's like, yeah, should this and this in there. And do you ever get to those points where, not in a cocky sense, but do you ever get to those points where you forget how good you are? Like, and I mean not cocky. Like you realize, like I can go whip through some stuff fast, knock it out, won't cause a sweat, not even a second thought. I can be doing a million other more things while I'm doing it. But do you ever get those moments where you have to take a step back and be like, oh yeah, I forgot I was this good. Yeah, I am this good at this thing. Like, I can't juggle and tight rope walk across the Grand Canyon, but I can do this. This is my trick.
Yes and no. I don't know. Like, it's just not something I think about. Man, you need friends that show up with like already partially reverse seared steaks. So you just gotta sear them at the end.
I'm like, oh, I did it. No, I mean, because sometimes I put up a video earlier, the tuna steaks, and tuna steak was one of the first steaks I knocked out consistently and got right, because I took my knowledge from that and I applied it to cooking regular steaks, because tuna steaks is finicky. It is not forgiving. It is very temperamental, and you let that thing ride 30 to 45 seconds too long, it's done. You might as well just smash it all up and make yourself a tuna sandwich.
Yeah, and if you're making tuna steaks, you probably bought a nice piece of tuna. So like at that point, you might as well just cry.
Yeah, just like there's nothing I can do. At least if I overdo a steak, I can cube it, drop it in a crock pot, serve it over rice later. That's it.
Make tacos.
Make tacos. When in doubt, when you've overdone it, make tacos. All right, let's see. I think we got time for one more. One more. Let's see. Who do we have here? Because I have a fair amount of these on the ground. I'm trying to spread them out over a couple of days. There's a lot of pellet stuff here, guys. Do beans go in chili? I don't know.
If you're in Texas, no.
Texas, no. Okay.
So I have a friend who says that if you put tomato in chili, it's a stew.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
There's
so,
strict
like-
with it. There was a guy around here that used to do barbecue. I don't know whatever happened to him. Carne something. I can't remember. I legitimately don't. Okay, I'm getting a sign. We're stopping. We're stopping.
No, I just don't go down that road.
Yeah, I just remembered. He popped up because of like I remember he had said something about chilies one time when I put up a chili post, and then like he had tried to crack a joke on me because I put out hats or something. I was like, I don't get it. But yeah, all right, never mind. We'll just leave that bridge uncrossed.
Let's say if you put beans in your chili in Texas, you probably didn't make chili.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
All right. We'll finish up with this one. The Dark Shines asked, "Summer is a great season for barbecue. What are your favorite dishes to barbecue in the winter?"
The same thing I'm barbecuing in the summer.
Yeah, it's just more enjoyable because I'm not sweating bullets.
Right, yeah. It's just the wood usage creeps up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm cooking the same stuff, honestly.
I think maybe she meant for like personal enjoyment then. Let's go with that. Personal enjoyment meals for the winter versus like us doing events and orders and such.
You want something heartier in the winter, so
I dig that.
I mean, oh well, and there's also the seasonal stuff like smoked turkeys, doing smoked hams. Honestly, like doing whole rib roasts. I like to do that more as a winter holiday type dish.
Sorry, I'm slow. I just realized on YouTube I can actually see what the comments are if I tap them.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
do this stuff a lot, guys, so I can actually see what people have been.
So I guess
saying.
after this one, we should do one YouTube question.
Yeah, we may have to. But yeah.
Yeah, like standing rib roast, like doing a whole standing rib roast on the barbecue or like on the smoker or barbecue, like as a holiday.
I've got an A5 where I do 2 standing rib roasts that I have not yet cracked, and I'm waiting. I don't know when. Maybe I'll do something special for. Well, I may actually use it as part of the special project, but one of them. But those are one of those where I'm getting fancy with that one. I mean, the truffle oil's coming out, the truffles are coming out, the expensive salt blocks are coming out. All the tricks are coming out for that one because it's such a beautiful cut of meat. Like the best steak I ever made was a cowboy wagyu ribeye, and I cooked it all on my salt block. It's like butter. I didn't season it at all, just strictly the salt block, and it was so good, so good. I need to do that. I need to do that one again. That was over a year ago. I really should do that one.
So I mean, is there any particular protein or dish that you like to cook only during winter time on the barbecue?
For me, I like making my stews, and like now I've gotten in the habit of just making oxtail whenever I want to make oxtail, but I used to make it only in the winter. I make like my stew peas, my Jamaican stew peas in the winter. That's my favorite, with some spinach and dumpling. You know this because you've helped assist me with it last year and the year before, I believe. My Pitmaster Santa, my Brisket Gumbo is a dish I literally only make once a year, as it takes me 3 days to make the thing, and then I give it away for free.
Right.
So that's.
But for a good cause.
Yeah, it is for a good cause, and I'll always do it. My goal is to hopefully one day have many Pitmaster Santas around the U.S. going on at the same time. We'll see how it happens this year. I've got some stuff going, but that's definitely my winter dish more than anything is the Brisket Gumbo. People like it. They line up. It goes every year. We make more and more. We receive more and more toy donations. We help more and more families. And every year it's just not enough that we make. So I don't know how it's going to go down this year. I'm very excited to see what happens. But yeah, that's definitely my winter dish.
Yeah, I mean, I think taking any smoked, like getting like a chuck roast and smoking it and then finishing in a stew, like where you can, impart kind of like the barbecue flavor into a much heartier dish. a winter dish is a good way to utilize your barbecue over the winter,
Yeah.
like over the colder months.
No, I completely agree. Okay, well, that's...
Did we have one
Do we
YouTube?
have, I think we do. Let me see.
Just in case we don't want to. You don't want to stream on YouTube again, right?
I know,
So
right?
you're like.
Okay, so here's one. There's two. How's your Shirley? I did answer that one. And this one I actually appreciate that. What goals have you accomplished and planned since you've been on Netflix? Huh. That's not...
That's an easy one for me.
Well, you go ahead and answer first then.
Nothing.
Fair. What goals have I accomplished? I've gotten better. You know, I try to get better every time I start a fire. I want to get better. I've gotten to cook with a lot of my barbecue idols. I've been able to give back as much, if not more, that I was given. You know, I do a lot of philanthropy. Majority of it we don't broadcast, we just do it and keep it moving. So that's been really good to be able to do, to be in a position where you can just see something going on, like, all right, cool, let's take care of them, let's get that fixed and sorted out. Things yet to accomplish. Eventually, I want to have, you know, 4 walls and a roof. I want to have a brick and mortar. You know, not in a rush right now, just because the economy is a nightmare and commercial real estate is a...
Has it adjusted at all?
Yeah, it will just take all my monies and my twos and fews. But additional goals, they're in the works to being accomplished. The other stuff is in the works, yeah.
Do you feel that you're able to cook the food you want to cook more now that you've done the Netflix thing?
Yeah, because I even cooked what I wanted on the Netflix thing.
Right, but I'm saying, but like before, like when you would do pop-ups, you
Yeah.
kind of, you would...
Yeah, I stuck to a certain thing, and now I'm interjecting a lot more because I was always concerned at the masses not appreciating it. You know, like you tell people you want to have oxtail, they're like, what? Look at you funny, you know? Now it's one of those, the pre-orders for the oxtail last time sold out in like 3 or 4 minutes after announcing that we still made a fair amount for the actual pop-up. So getting more chances to include native dishes from my culture and my upbringing has been very refreshing. I love doing that, and I'm slowly swapping things out to like, hey, this is what I had, and you know, letting people become more aware of it. Don't just do barbecue chicken anymore. It's, you know, jerk chicken. It's no longer just pulled pork. It's chopped jerk pork. We do the oxtail. So the menu's slowly switching out different components and parts to it. I still want to do certain things, like I want to do a private dinner where I can just go wild. Like I can just have fun with them. Like, hey, it's like $150 a ticket, but you are going to be wheeled out of here because it's so much food. Different things that I just enjoy cooking for myself. Like I want to, you know, do curried lemon lamb live over the fire, and like your serving is literally just, I'm shaving it off right there and handing it to you. Those type of things. Like I want to have more experiential type cooks and settings, but it's hard to do that with the crowds that I bring. So I know it has to be a very small, intimate setting. So that's something on my list I'd like to do. I've consulted on numerous shows since my show. You know, like I said, this mug is made for radio and podcast, hence this podcast. So I dig being behind the cameras and showing things and ways to accomplish different things. So that's also been something that was on my list to do and have been doing very well with. Yeah, appreciate that question. That was a good question.
It's a great question.
All right, let's round it out here, I suppose. You, sir, have a pop-up Saturday.
Yeah, it depends on when this goes live.
Yeah.
August 6th, Pontoon Brewing, 1 to 5, or until sold out.
Don't forget
The
that.
keywords.
Until sold out, which never lasts till 5. I'm not gonna lie, even with the boba, you're gonna get a solid 2.5 hours tops.
Yeah.
You better, so just get there. So if this is at 1, get there at about 12. You know, nothing with being there early, get you a beer, cop a squat, put your order in, and you're good. You put two
Well,
orders.
we don't start taking orders till 1. We don't. We wait. We wait until we're ready to go before we start taking orders. But yeah, if this, depending on when this gets posted,
Yeah.
August 6th. Yes, August 6th.
I'll Edward Scissorhands it
Yeah,
tonight
and then
tomorrow.
and then if not, August 20th, I'm at Round Trip with some friends, soup belly dumplings and Mila's macaroons.
Yeah.
We're gonna kind of doing a mini food fest over there at Round Trip Brewing.
And then you, Richard, and
Brian
Keenan have one September.
Yeah, September 17th, we're doing, Pontoon's calling it a luau, we're calling it Hog Fest.
Yeah.
Brian Keenan's gonna cook a whole hog, I'm gonna do some specialty sausage links, and Richard's gonna make, of Keebler's Kitchen's gonna make some ribs,
Shout out to
and
Richard.
Dana's gonna make some of her famous desserts. It's just gonna be,
down cupcakes.
yeah, it's just gonna be like a good little mini festival in the middle of September.
No, I dig it. I wonder how big of a hog is Keenan doing?
So I don't know yet, like the exact weight.
Because
but-
he's going to do a pop-up, at least 100.
Right, yeah.
I hope at least 100.
I know that our serving hours we're aiming for more like 12 to 6, 1 to 6, so kind of longer than we normally run a pop up. So,
And that's the thing, there's whole hog, pulled whole hog food goes so fast.
and
so fast.
yeah, Brian he doesn't do the Carolina thing where he pulls it and chops it and serves it that way.
No,
He's
just
literally pulling it and like prepping it per order.
Mm-hmm.
Like he'll make a small little batch that may do, 5 to 10 orders, and then he's pulling a fresh batch to
That's
do
the
it.
best way. I had someone ask me because they were doing and we'll wrap up after this. They were doing an event, a graduation or something, and they were going to do like 4 or 5 shoulders, this and that, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna reheat it with sous vide." I'm like, "No, just leave it whole. Don't pull it until you're about to serve. Let it cool, chill it, reheat it whole. I promise you, it'll stay juicier." But what do I know? I've only
You've only been doing this for a little bit.
just a little bit, God knows how many hogs. Nowhere near as many hogs as Rodney or anything, but I was just like, I'm just trying to pass along information. And I do want to give a special shout out to my buddy Ken. Ken is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, he should be rolling his hog today. He's doing a nice little test cook on a hog for before he does this big Labor Day event. I think he got himself a 60-pound hog, and he's doing one in the yard. So Ken, I hope it turns out amazing, brother. Hopefully I can make it down there for the big Labor Day one, and we can make something happen.
And you got any events coming up?
None that are public.
None that are public.
None that are public. That's the thing. Like I still do this, right? But like it's either hush hush, it's either private, or it's in front of a camera. Got to see that stuff later. But I don't think I have. There will be. I had my last solo event, but there likely will be some stuff that may be happening in September, October here in Atlanta, which we talked about off camera, where I'll be there cooking again, just not by myself, and we're gonna share that stuff when it becomes available. But as far as pop-up stuff, public, I believe not in Atlanta. The next one is going to be in Los Angeles in September, New York, I believe twice in October, Palm Beach in December, and there's a couple in November, and I think I'm back in New York in December.
The perfect weather and time to cook in New York.
I actually love it. I love it. I'd much rather roll smoke in the cold than 90-degree weather.
This is true.
My rigs run better anyway, so. But yeah, that's enough of that. Where can the amazing listeners find you, buddy?
At Secret Pine BBQ on Instagram, secretpinebarbecue.com.
Yeah.
I'm just doing my thing, and
I think
you can
does
see whatever recipe I'm working on, whatever specialty link I have going. So
because you've got a really special one before we go. I wanted you to tell about it. The one that you're serving up Saturday.
the bacon, egg, and cheese.
Well, you've got the bacon, egg, and cheese, but you've got another one.
Oh yeah, the linguiça calabrese.
Yeah.
So I did an attempt at a spicy linguiça with Portuguese red wine. So that one came out pretty good. Yeah, not too unpleased with it, but I think it could be better. It could use a little more heat,
Yeah.
but
But don't worry, we've got a sausage we're working on that's got plenty of heat for him. It's gonna destroy you guys, but it's definitely worth it. Guys, as always, I just want to say thank you so much to you guys on the old Instagrammies, to you guys on the old YouTubes for tuning in, for watching. I appreciate it. If you want to catch the replay of this, you can catch it on YouTube. Just hit Rashid Phillips in the old YouTube search bar and it will pop up. And this has been another episode of This Week in Barbecue, which is the barbecue-focused podcast that brings you both the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between in the world of barbecue. I'm your host, Rashid Phillips. Please like, share, subscribe, tell 2 friends to tell 2 friends, and follow us on all social media platforms at This Week in Barbecue. Until next week, guys, take care, and remember, be good to one another. Later, Instagrammies.